Is that on? It is on. Excellent. All right, let me get comfortable. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome for those who might be live and those who will be listening in the future time. I hope you have a fantastic time today. Future historical past apologies for last week. Last week we actually showed a pre-recording. It's the first time we did that. I noticed there was an option to do that, and I ran a test. Unfortunately, I was actually at a family's birthday gathering, so I couldn't do it the show. So I rather than cancel, I thought let me try and be creative in some form. So yes, there was one, but like I said, the real heart of this show is the viewers and the people because halfway through, or more than or less than halfway through, we throw out a link and we get the opinions of the people, and we mold the show around them. Let's say hi to everyone. We're hey, all right. Greetings, family. Greetings, all. Um, so yes, so this week is live, and this week is a very important week, very good week. Um, Let us now. Oh, let me skip on here. So we're gonna go through the normal cultural stuff that we have to do because we actually want to have order and harmony whenever we do anything, but we have to have a preset ruling to make sure that that reality can be heightened. Ah, yes. So let's mix. There we go. So we're on the show 54. I am this is the Betterment Broadcast. I am your host today, Rap Raven. And let's so we go through the motion. So after much research, I've unfortunately concluded that currently black people are collectively inadequate. Most unfortunate. That's right. The reason we practice black betterment and all this other kind of stuff is because unfortunately, for some reason, as we have the evidence for and the past proof, black people currently are collectively inadequate. So we have to do something about that because that's not correct. No, sir, it's not. All right. So we're going to be talking about, issues, good stuff, bad stuff, left stuff, right stuff. So when we do, let's try to use the 4D values. What are the 4D values? Discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. That's right. These four value systems, if we can lean on them when we communicate with each other, whether it's within this actual broadcast or in the world, whenever you're trying to find solutions for black people, I recommend we think of these 4Ds. Once again, discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. Write that down on a piece of paper. It will help you, I assure you. It's what I use when I try to do public debating or anything of that nature. So let's see if it can help the greater black population. Fantastic. Oh yeah. Now, also, if we can, if possible, not use any derogative language. More descriptive is always helpful. So we have some examples here. The ones to the left, less of. The ones to the right, more of, if possible. See what happens. Fantastic. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway, so what are we saying? We're saying that black betterment is black people helping black people on black issues for betterment. That is what this broadcast is all about. That's right. That's what it's all about. It's about black betterment. That's right. So black betterment is actually a lifestyle. That's what it is. So this broadcast promotes a lifestyle of black betterment. I should be doing the website soon, to be honest. I've been sleeping over too long. Give me a week or so. It should be up and running. Just a quick information hub of what black betterment lifestyle is and all that good stuff, right? So not to worry about that. So we have to do this because we're going to be showing video material, and we don't want people to think we're trying to profit off their hard work. Let me read it now rather than rambling. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use of purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips to balance in the favor of fair use. So we're just going to say we're using other people's work just to, be journalistic and all that kind of istics that we can have to make black people learn and progress. Fantastic. Yes. All right. So where are we? So this week, very important week, we are going to go over how can marketing strategies help with black betterment. So how can that be? There's many things, and I'm not the king swing of marketing really, but I've had my fair share of history, but there's people out there who are very good as well, and we want to pick the minds of the community. But we're going to obviously look at past works and motivations. And innovations and stuff. So we're going to we review a case study of Yla Eason and her creation Sunman. Some people might be familiar. Most people, I suspect, are not. I am to an extent, but not as much as I should have been, to be honest. But what we're going to do is we're just going to have a historical narration and I've got some videos to help that. So just to set the scene, basically in the 80s, there was a brand known as the Masters of the Universe. A very popular brand. I actually, as a young person, was into it, man. And a brand about superhero magic men and this kind of stuff. And anyway, so this is the environment to which the Yla Eason story actually begins. So what we're going to do, we're going to borrow someone's video just to give a back catalog of the story, and then we're going to hear some testimonies and some other kind of monies and this kind of stuff, right? So let's click and see what happens. All right.
In the early 80s, when He-Man was at the peak of his popularity and sales, he was dominating sales so much.
So if you don't know, if you see the screen, the European gentleman on the right is He-Man, not the European lady on the left. That is Barbie. Both of these brands are owned by a company called Mattel. It's very important to understand what companies are, because essentially black people should be making their own. Excellent.
That outsold Barbie and Hot Wheels, which shocked a lot of people internally at Mattel, which very much saw Hot Wheels and Barbie being the core of the company. Now, the whole rise and fall of He-Man as the best-selling toy line of the mid-'80s is a story best.
So I just want to know that He-Man made over $1 billion on toy revenue. Very, very, very lucrative business back in those days. The 80s, a lot of things sold, a lot of vinyls, toys. It was quite a booming time to sell anything in the 80s, to be honest. But yeah, so He-Man was one of the top toys in that time. And let's continue.
Told in other ways. Roger Sweet's book is a great place to start. And while the financial and cultural success of He-Man was great, so was kind of his whiteness. At least that was definitely how he was viewed by a lot of non-white kids, parents, and, well, toy buyers. Sure, you had characters like Clamp Champ, who were introduced later in the line, and other characters got what would be called a racial swap or a race swap in both 2001.
So back catalog, basically, backtrack, sorry. Back in, well, anything really historically, most toys, cartoons, and this kind of stuff started out as European aesthetics. If you were young enough, some people nowadays probably won't be aware of this, but many toys in the past were pretty much European, and any kind of powers and any kind of whatever was based on Europeans. And then there are kind of factions, and you might have got the odd black person here and there, and the odd non-white person, to be honest. And then also they would do mold cuts, so you would get, like, if you had a black character, he would just be a white character reskinned. This was the behavioral pattern and of the toy companies. So this was how it was back in the old days of toys. There was obviously black characters, but generally the majority would have been of European phenotypes and this kind of stuff. And this was obviously issues that maybe mothers had with Barbies and not but with dolls and action figures, that it didn't really represent, the wider spectrum of society, that kind of stuff.
And in 2021, but He-Man was really seen as the epitome of a white, powerful character. And for children who weren't Caucasian, this was an issue. Well, enter Yla Eason. That's Y-L-A, Yla Eason. Hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Well, some people say Yla Eason, some people say Yla Eason. So this is we have to wait for the sister to announce her own name. But that's the two names that people keep throwing around.
Well, she saw He-Man and got it for her son. Her son enjoyed it. But while on vacation with her son and her husband in Jamaica, she and her husband, Milton, saw that their son was having problems associating himself with He-Man. He liked the character, he liked how easy it was to grip in his hand, the fact that it was a character made of muscles, but he couldn't see himself as He-Man because he was black and He-Man was white. How is he going to possibly grow up to be He-Man if he didn't have the same skin color? Well, Yla Eason said, this is something that we need to address. There are not enough strong African-American toys out there at market for young children to play with and see as aspirational. If you wanted to become He-Man, you literally had to put on a white He-Man mask, which today might even be thought of as cultural appropriation. Gosh, I hope I'm not butchering this and using things inappropriately. Obviously, there were aspirational black heroes and black characters in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah, very few.
But they weren't really toys. And even a character like Black Panther is huge today, and you can find Black Panther toys everywhere. Back in the 80s, he was basically stuck in comic books. You didn't really see merchandise of him until the movie. Well, that is why Yla invented Sunman, a brand new character that she could give to her son, who could see himself as an empowered black hero, a character that was just as muscular as He-Man, but was not as aggressive. His sword and vest harnessed the power of the sun, and he didn't fight evil as much, turned evil into illusion, and would travel out of his body to do this. Hey, it was an awesome way to combat evil, and less aggressive. His main enemy, well, really his only enemy, was Pigman, also a character very reminiscent of Masters of the Universe as far as body build, and with 2 characters and $180,000 invested from multiple investors, they took their idea to Asia, had prototypes made up, and brought their figure to market. They were very clear that this character was not just He-Man colored black, but was an African-American character, noting the facial sculpt, the hair, and it was meant to absolutely be an avatar for the imagination for young black children. Now, you obviously can't look at him without saying, oh, well, it definitely looks like it fits in with the Masters of the Universe world. Couldn't Mattel have just shut this down? They're clearly, quote-unquote, ripping He-Man off. Well, this was already addressed when Remco came out with their Warlord line a few years earlier, and judges found over and over again that one couldn't copyright a muscular body. So, with that precedent set, Sunman, the greatest superhero of them all, was ready to take the world by storm. And take the world by storm he did. Well, actually, yes, he sold $120,000 worth of product in 1986 dollars, and they only had 2 characters. He was even marketed directly on packages as more powerful than He-Man. So there was definitely a stake right in the ground of what kind of market they were going after. New characters were introduced in the second year, with sales generating between $800,000 and $1 million. And again, this was in 1986 dollars, so quite successful. In fact, the property spawned merchandise, it had t-shirts, it had a book explaining the peaceful origin of Sunman, and the character selection included lots of different races and ethnicities. While they were all male, there was an African American, there was an Asian character, and there was even a Caucasian character. So they would gang together with Boltman and Space Sumo to battle against Pigman and make sure the illusion of evil was wiped out. Different packaging variants were introduced and did make it to market, because while retailers were shy at first, the sales couldn't be argued. And with the success of Sunman, Yla decided to form Olmec Toys, which would focus.
Interesting name. Sister created a brand called Olmec Toys. And when black people from the diaspora use the word Olmec, it's very, it kind of might show their mindset. The words like Olmec, Kemet, this kind of words. So it already showed you there was a certain awareness floating around in the sister's mind, which is always fantastic. And this is in 1985.
On other categories, but always with a black by design, her logo, if you will, influence, making sure that there were toys that were aimed at young.
Interesting to go back there. Black by design.
Very good one. Influence, making sure that there were toys that were aimed at young African American kids, both boys and girls, so they could see themselves as their toys and use them, rightfully so, as avatars for the imagination. Children naturally gravitate to toys that remind them of themselves. Boys gravitate to boy toys. Girls gravitate to girl toys or female toys. Obviously, boys and girls can be into any toy they want, but it's great to have product out there designed for different ethnicities. And in this case, Olmec Toys was specifically focused on creating product for young African American children. Dolls, even historical characters in the Our Powerful Past line, which actually only included one character, Malcolm X.
Interesting as well. So we have a sister who's named the company Olmec Toys, and she also has a historical line. And the historical line, the character they used was Malcolm X. So once again, when people use Malcolm X, it really shows you a certain mindset. So the sister seems to be on the right track there. 10 points for that.
Of course, their other entry into the boys' action adventure aisle was the Bronze Bombers. Much like Sunman went right up against He-Man, the Bronze Bombers were designed to be very reminiscent of another hit toy line from the 1980s. If you couldn't guess it by now, it was G.I. Joe. These military characters of an almost entire African-American squad, with, I guess you could say, token female Caucasian character, were even packaged very similar to G.I. Joe, with the bright red yellow flame that was reminiscent of G.I. Joe branding at the time. And yeah, something like this probably wouldn't fly today with the way trademarks and copyrights are, but it was great, and her work has been celebrated for decades. She's now teaching at Rutgers University.
All right, let's stop there. So that sister, some say Yla Eason or Yla Eason. Let's see what she says. So we're gonna listen to two videos of her because the sister is still actually, as you can see, still teaching and still educating and stuff like this. Let's see. Let her do her own introduction, and we'll have another award introduction. So let's click on this. Rewind.
What I teach to students is that all the components of marketing is finding a want and a need and satisfying it for a customer base, offering them benefits that they will find worthy of exchanging money for. So the way I help students understand where I come into this is I was a marketer. I was not only a marketer, but I was an entrepreneur. I came up with an idea. I researched what it took in order to make the idea happen, which was creating a Black toy and toys of color for children of color, because that did not exist in the marketplace. So a part of marketing is finding a gap in the market or an opportunity and then filling that. So what I filled was the multicultural toy market did not exist before I came out with Sunman and the whole line of Black, Hispanic, Asian, and Native American action figures. So I included everybody in that area of toys that I did. What I also found out, there are other elements of the marketing mix, which we look at as product, price, place, and promotion. I had to price it to sell, which meant it was close to the toys that were already selling at that. I had to promote it, which was advertise it. I had to prove its concept, find buyers for that. I then also had to find out where to sell it, the place. I was selling it in mom and pop shops, and then I moved into big box retailers, Kmart, Walmart, Target, Toys.
So yeah, so great research, bro, Raven. There seems to have been a rival of this in the last 5 years here in the UK. What do you mean? Break it down for me. That's interesting. Right now.
Us. And the other part of the toys and promoting them is that you have to stay current with the way things are done now. I didn't have the benefit of the internet back in '85 when I started it, but I now have a lot of interest from third parties in exploiting the toy now. And we are talking about video and different areas in which it matters for today's internet connected world. But it took a lot of research. It took understanding.
I was just joining. This is Yla Eason talking about her marketing strategy of when she made the first ever Black superhero figure in '85. I think that's correct. The first ever
in the marketplace.
Definitely first Black owned anyway.
It took understanding the demographics. It took presenting the economic value of this demographic and then the need that this toy would satisfy in order to market it. I do bring my whole self into the classroom to talk about everything that I did related to economics, market research, promotion, advertising, finance, supply.
Very important to understand what marketing is and who your core clientele are.
Chain, selling, and getting customers interested and staying current and innovating in terms of what you are presenting. So that is an approach I bring to the classroom, not just the academic, but also the practical, because I have done it. I have taken an idea and made it happen to go to a $5 million company. So that is what I bring to the classroom, and I promote follow your passion, because you will do a better job than just working for money. So get something that really interests you and focus on that regardless of what anyone else says. But I think I read something somewhere that said, do you want to love your parents? And the guy says, yes, I want to love my parents. Then do what you want to do. Because if you only do what your parents want you to do, you will end up hating them because you feel like they forced you to do something you didn't want to do.
Story with us. Yla, you are being honored this week for an innovation that occurred quite some time ago, all you, that really changed the lives of several children, including your own son. Tell me what was behind your decision many years ago to found the toy company Olmec.
It was, as they say, the mother of invention, or whatever, however that phrase actually goes. As a mother, my son said, we were on the beach with my then husband, and he said he couldn't be a superhero because he wasn't white. And he was 3 years old when he said that. So we were just thrown back by a 3-year-old making that kind of a comment, that he's limiting his imagination because of his skin color. So, and we didn't even have a TV in the house. So we were completely shocked by how does he even come up with this? And so I started talking to other mothers and found out that the product that they were all involved in, the kids at that age, was called Masters of the Universe from Mattel. And it didn't have any Black characters in it. So we started talking about the fact of representation and how important that is in order for you to see yourself for you to imagine yourself being in that role. And I then did some research and talked with Professor Kenneth Clark, who was the person, he and his wife Mamie were the ones who did the research around the Black dolls that led to the Brown versus Board of Education decision in 1954. And what they did was they showed Black dolls and white dolls to little kids, and they asked them, which one is smart, which one is cute, which one would you want to play with? And in each case, they all picked the white dolls. So that was what made them think that issues of segregation affected children's perception, self-perception. So when talking with him, I also asked if he thought this was a good idea. He said yes. I did more research with mothers and found out that they were interested in it. So I felt it would solve a bigger problem than just my son not seeing himself that way, but this would be a way to show positive representation of all children of different colors and backgrounds in a toy. So we did Sunman, which was African American or Black, and then we did Hispanic, Asian, and Native American, as well as a white toy in terms of the collection.
And what year? Did the company launch, and when did Sunman first become available?
In 1985. We did launch in 85, and Sunman became available in 1985. And at that time, I didn't recognize it, but it was considered radical, mainly because I was at that time competing against a major corporation. Going in the action figure world, it was only pretty much Hasbro and Mattel. And so I was a complete outsider. And that's exactly how I was treated by all the buyers. I soon found that out very quickly.
Well, most importantly, what did your son think of the toy, Sunman?
Oh, he loved it. He absolutely was happy that he had a toy to play with. And I can tell you this, I went to pick him up one time at the nursery school, and all the kids mobbed me. And I was like, what's going on here? And my son had told them that I could get them any toy they wanted. As a result of me creating that.
So, how did your story go? What happened to the toy company you created?
Okay. I got hit with competition. And if I can go into the real story that happened, it took me 8 years consistently calling on Walmart to get into the store. I had a 90-day lead time. 30 days to manufacture in China, 30 days to put it on the water, 30 days to get it into my warehouse and ship it out. I know with Amazon has shown us that you can ship out things much faster now, but this was back then, okay, before the internet even. So what happened was they saw all these sales, but I wasn't able to supply the sales because of the lag in time from the order to production. And so they got very angry with me. They told me that the mothers were very angry at them. And so what they did was they went to their factories in China and told them, start making 30% of your products in black and brown. And as a result, it diminished my sales.
So, how does it feel really decades later to be honored as a woman
Guys, there's been no sound, and Sister Cushy has told me. Look, I pressed mute and I'm talking for just looking at the screen. Let me go back. So you haven't missed anything. Well, you probably let's start again. So a big up Empress Christie for picking up. So had she not been there, literally I would probably talk for 15 minutes and just that's how it is. This is why it's good to have people on the live. Fantastic. 10 points for that. Maybe extra 7 points as well. Cool. Where was I? So we're gonna start again. So what we're saying is when we listen to Sister Yla, she was talking about a want and a need and to satisfy it, right? And the idea there is, establishing, for me, my area of interest is two things. One, circling the pounds of the Black community by creating products and stuff like that. But another one is how to sell ideas of betterment to the community. And that's where the values come and play more. But if we go back to the want and the need, it is trying to look for those opportunities. And in the 80s, with many cartoons coming out and children being there, many children long to see themselves in cartoons, comics, toys, games, this kind of stuff. And it just wasn't there. A lot of the European white producers thought you wouldn't make money doing that, and some of it just wasn't their priority, and it shouldn't be. It's not Europeans' priority to do anything for Black people. This is one of the greatest lessons Black people can learn: is never expect anyone to do anything for you, and even if they do, it's probably no good. And why do I say this? Because Sister Yla has said that she had found it very difficult to get her stuff in stores. And then when she couldn't meet certain kind of demands here and there, they just got someone to color swap old toys brown. And this is the thing with many of the old Barbies and stuff. A lot of them were just palette swaps, color swaps, and this kind of stuff. And this is why your values is important of when you make products, because if Black people is your focus, then you make sure that when you're making these kind of products, they're in mind, and just palette swapping European stuff is never a good idea, for Black children, ever. But anyway, values are important as well in the sense of when it comes to trying to get ideas to the community, because as you're going to notice, because of the discombobulation of Black people and the lack of trust and some search for betterment, you could have a cult of personality where certain personalities become, very prominent, and their personality trumps their actual workload, and these people might do acts that isn't in the best interest of Black people, and that's why you always have to have a value system when you have companies, and I say, we should have to say it, but mistreating Black people has to be somehow worded in, not mistreating Black people, I should say. It has to be somehow worded and pushed into your company values, because it takes 8 years to gain trust and 8 seconds to lose it, right? So that kind of stuff. So this is important. This is why values are important, and maintain your values, and that way you can then jump on your opportunities. What we're gonna do now? There's 2 more videos to show. For those who just want to break down what market, I'll do a quick 1 minute animation of what marketing is, and then we'll jump on another thing which I was going to talk about. But hold on.
The first few words.
Rewind. All right.
What is marketing?
You tell me.
How would you explain marketing? The first few words that usually pop into a person's head are marketing equals sales. Marketing is not just personal selling or even just advertising.
There you go.
Most people define marketing in a very limited way. Marketing includes activities such as public relations, sales promotion, advertising, social media, pricing, distribution, and many other functions. Companies have increased their marketing budgets dramatically. For example, it is estimated that companies spend over $15 billion annually on marketing to just kids. This is an increase of over 2.5 times more than they were spending in 1992. The cumulative function of marketing is to communicate, deliver, and create value to the consumer. In addition, companies must take into consideration their employees, stakeholders, and society. The most successful companies engage in very consumer-oriented marketing. They spend enormous amounts of time, money, and resources examining the everyday.
Very important thing for us to do when we're trying to either sell products to black people or try to introduce ideas as in black people's best interest. Have to really analyze society, black society, just to see the reaction, what they like and what they want, this kind of stuff.
Lives of their customers, and then create products to fill a need.
That's right, filling a need. With the sister Yla case study, she realized most black boys wanted black toys, but they couldn't get any, so there was a need there. And to an extent, some people might not even be aware there's a want until a want is being presented. That takes a bit more research and stuff, but that's definitely the truth.
Examples of companies that are known for creative, leading-edge marketing are Disney, Pepsi, Apple, and Procter & Gamble. Marketing is made up of 4 elements.
Let's break those down. What are those 4 elements?
Product, place, promotion, and price.
4 P's: product, place, promotion, and price.
The elements must be used in a cohesive plan to effectively target the consumer. A product can be either a physical product or a service. Place is where the product is purchased. Price is the amount a consumer pays for the product, and promotion consists of the communication tools used to effectively get the company's message out. The official definition of marketing is it is a philosophy that's main focus is providing customer satisfaction.
That's the one there. Everything we're doing for a black community, we have to try to, make sure that the users or the customers are satisfied. And that's why values are important. And actually customer care and customer consideration and user-centric design. User-centered design, you see?
Marketing is the activity, set of institutions, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. Also included in the definition are all of the activities that help businesses reach their target market effectively. The ultimate outcome for marketing is when a successful exchange occurs.
All right, okay, let's stop there. Now, we're going to move on to a video that I'm sure you've all seen before, and I think I might have shown it before, but then again, I can't remember. But and basically, in the States, they had a famous video, well, not famous, but a corporate video that they would circulate to the companies of how best to sell to the Negro, because they realized much money was being lost when a high-earning part of society was pretty much ignored. So they made it. So we're going to watch this. This is obviously the 50s in the States, but it's just something to learn. Now, while I'm doing that, get your jumping hands ready, because I'm going to send the link out soonish. And if you've got anything you want to talk about, today's topic actually is how marketing strategies help Black betterment. How can marketing strategies help with Black betterment? And obviously we talk about why. So we just want to talk. We could talk about anything. We could talk about stuff from last week as well, because obviously we couldn't speak last week, so we can catch it up if we need to. But let's just have a quick look at this. For those who haven't seen it, but some I'm quite confident many might have. So let's rewind.
Well, move that over there. Why don't you?
You got the level on that, Joe? Hey, how's this video coming through?
Are the lights hot enough?
Don't forget the dolly and close. All right, be sure and stay clear of number 2 camera, and all set. Stand by.
It's a very long there we go. I mean, sorry about it. It's a long intro there.
Really big, because it's bound to have a terrific impact on business. I'm talking about a new market, a big new market. Millions upon millions of new prospects with $15 billion to spend. That's right, I said $15 billion. That's a lot of money, isn't it? The surprising thing is that it's a fresh market, still full of opportunities. It grew up so fast, got so big in a hurry, that few of us realize its scope. Now, these days, nobody's likely to pass up chances to sell. And yet right here in our own front yard, there's a neglected market. There's money waiting to be spent. To get the story of this market, to be able to tell you the secret of selling the Negro, we did a lot of digging. We talked to leading businessmen, to customers, and to salesmen. We went to Washington, D.C. We set up cameras and other key points around the nation. And out of this all, there emerged a story. The story of a new market. Yes, this is the market we're talking about, the new Negro family. Their name is Wells or Wilson, Smith or Brown or Alexander or Breen. They live in Chicago, in Atlanta or New York, in Detroit, St. Louis, Los Angeles, any one of 1,000 cities and towns. All over the country, families such as this are enjoying new prosperity. They have new interests, new standards of living, a buying power they've never enjoyed before. They're good prospects for practically all types of goods and services. All too often, though, they're overlooked prospects. Why? Because of some good, valid reason? No. They're overlooked because of mistaken ideas. Because of out-of-date ideas about how the Negro lives and how he buys. The truth of the matter is that the Negro lives pretty much the same as other folks. He buys pretty much the same way, too. But just the same, a lot of old doubts and opinions keep cropping up over and over again.
I don't like to do business with Negroes. They're drifters. You can't keep track of them.
Yes, although a lot of people think that way, the truth is that 1 out of every 3 Negro families living in cities today owns its own home. That figure comes directly from the United States Bureau of Census.
Maybe so, but Negroes are poor credit risks.
Not more of a credit risk than any other group. Actually, the Negro homebuyer meets his payments faithfully, often more faithfully than other race groups in the same economic level. That's the information we got from people who ought to know, the National Association of Real Estate Boards.
Well, maybe, but I've always heard that Negroes buy shoddy, poor quality merchandise.
No, it's just the other way around. According to leading researchers, in proportion to population and income, Negroes buy more quality products than any other comparable United States group. You see, there are a lot of confused notions about the Negro customer. But when you dig right down and find out about them, they just don't hold water. Negroes own homes. They meet their payments faithfully. They buy good brands of merchandise. So why let a lot of old-fashioned ideas hurt profits? Take a look at the real facts. Here in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, some amazing facts and figures about this new market have been uncovered. For a first-hand report, we would like to take you directly to the United States Department of Commerce to hear this story from the Secretary of Commerce himself. Here is the Honorable Sinclair Weeks, the Secretary of Commerce of the United States.
In the Department of Commerce, we are constantly alert to trends that mean a healthier national economy, better business for the nation as a whole. Recently, we have been interested in a rising young market, one that represents a huge potential for goods and services. I'm referring to the new Negro market. The tremendous buying power of this group is backed, of course, by an increased earning power. The average Negro family's income is at a record high. In fact, since 1939, it has increased more than the average income of all other Americans. Just take a look at a few figures. An official Department of Commerce report shows that at least 1/3 of the...
All right. So as you see there, I mean, it goes on for days. But there's obviously historically there's always been a need and a want and a desire to market direct to black people all over the world. And yeah, this is what it is, and this is something that I think in England at the moment. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I think I last read saying there was the black pound is a 300 billion pound industry, although it might be mixed with the BAME, black, Asian, minority, something like this. So I don't know what spice of that is just black, but either way, 300 billion is quite a lot, and I know in America it's quite high as well. So yeah, tapping into that is obviously an important thing, and obviously creating these and all that kind of stuff. Now, what I've done is I've posted a link. This show might be a very short show this week, but I posted a link in the forum. So if anyone wants to jump in, feel free and jump in. We can do what you want. This week, if I skip. This week we were talking about how can marketing strategies help black bearmen. This could work either when it comes to ideas or business. We're reviewing Yla Eason. Anything you want to talk about the past, anything about toys, about any brands you like or you didn't like, ideas you didn't know, feel free to jump in and have a good old chin wag. This actually show is based upon communities back and forth. Now, last week, for those, because it was a pre-recorded video last week, let me push this to the side. Oh, yeah, it's working. I wanted to do that. Hold on. All right, let's do that. Yeah, pre-recorded. So what I'll do is I'll talk through some of the things last. If you didn't check last week's show, I'll go over it. Some of you might have. Basically, last week's show was talking about networking practices, and if you look at the screen at the moment, and this, I guess, this is connected to marketing and research and just economics in general. We were comparing the white structure with the symbol on the left of many connections, and the circle represents the amount of wealth, and the lines represent the connections to others. And unfortunately, in many markets today, the black people operate similar to the one on the right, where you have wealth scattered here and there, but there's no real connection to it. And unfortunately, much is being lost. What I should have done is I should have actually drawn lines from this black one going into the white one, because that's actually what is happening. That would be interesting. I should do that, to be honest. Right. And then we spoke about the concept last week. This was about legacy. Legacy of in the black community when it comes to making money and holding wealth. Many celebrities and sport athletes, as well as well-paid workers, whatever, make a considerable amount. And I was giving the example of the legacy of Bruce Lee's legacy and financial state. Bruce Lee was the person who introduced Kung Fu into the mainstream, karate, martial arts, this kind of stuff. And what happened? He came to America and found a European bride, and then he had children, or two children, and then unfortunately passed away. And then his estate moved to his bride, and then his children married other Europeans. And today, the legacy of Bruce Lee's financial state will probably go back to Europeans. This is not something that black people think about or care about, to be honest. Other community groups think about it more. I think Bruce Lee was a bit more of a free spirit and didn't really care. I know he had a lot of trouble with Chinese people who felt he was too westernized, and they tried to beat him up for teaching other people. And I think they did beat him up for teaching other people martial arts. But this is something that black people have to be aware, especially if you're well-to-do and you want to circulate your wealth and have money and all this kind of stuff. As you find, there are many. I think last week we also showed about the wretched condition that many Aboriginal people from around the world are in, i.e., the Aborigines and the Native Indians, who are, unfortunately not doing well, and most of the assets, even though they might have retreated at some point, they gave it back to the people they took it from, and this kind of stuff. And then we also showed Bob Marley, similar, well, not similar, but Bob Marley obviously, married a black empress, and then they had children, and some of the children in the later years, the ones who have inherited the financial state, upon the inheritance have married European people. So it's something to watch. Just make sure you try to keep that money circulating, if possible. If not, but I think what I was saying as well was interesting. There was the two offspring of Bob Marley here, if you look at them, the women he's married is famously from nations that traditionally hate black people. And what you tend to find is, so for example, the Brazilians are famous for hating black people when it comes to like marrying. They tend to only marry rich, well-to-do, like Pele, these kind of people. And I think the other brother at the bottom is married to an Israeli woman. I think we showed a documentary a few weeks back about Israeli men attacking Arabs and this kind of stuff, making sure they didn't marry their women. And I think in law, you don't think you can, but I can't remember. But this kind of stuff. So it's just things to note that if you're a black person and you make a bit of money, you might be more desirable from people groups who traditionally don't like you. But what do I know? What do I know? Huh? What do I know? Right, and then last week we went on to show about a white Aboriginal person and a black Aboriginal person, and then we listened to the audio and we broke down the experience of a so-called white Aboriginal person and a black Aboriginal person. Right, cool. So anyway, we are coming to the 1 hour mark, family, and where are we? Error prone, nice. Yeah, we're coming to the 1 hour mark, and we have just spent this 1 hour looking at a case study of Yla Eason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep playing the end. It's probably about 10 minutes or so, I don't know, of how to sell to the Negro. And if anyone jumps in between, then we can have a chop up a conversation. If not, we'll just listen to the end and we'll cut it as a short show and all the rest of it. So let me just keep playing it for a bit and then we'll cut the show off unless no one jumps in. Let's see what they say.
Living
Negro.
in cities earn from $2,000 to $5,000 a year.
That's right.
Today, the average Negro wage earner brings home a paycheck 4 times larger than the one he collected in 1939. As a whole, the Negro market.
So to be forward, what the white people are doing in this video is they're trying to get the money back. You see, the money that they're trying to get it back, and hence why they use marketing. But let's carry on.
Has a total income of about $15 billion every year, right. And after taxes, Negro families still have many billions of dollars to spend. Here is a buying power that cannot help but have a tremendous effect on our national economy and on business prosperity in general. When these dollars are spent.
So you see systematically, this is what I was trying to, you see me debating, I try to tell people about strategies and nothing just happens by chance. This is what, in England, all over the world as well, there is dedicated efforts to take black people's money, as you do, but very particularly like there's marketing things done to try to get that, and we definitely need to tap into that to keep that money circulating. Oh, I've gone backwards. Let me read. There we go. Where's your friend? Oh, where is he? There he is. I'm sure he didn't say too much good stuff. It's round about there. Let me see.
A buying power that cannot help but have a tremendous effect on our national economy and on business prosperity in general.
Jump in the links.
When these dollars are spent for a wide range of goods, services, and employment, business everywhere is bound to feel the impact.
Mm-hmm. This new buying power has resulted in a class Negro market, a profitable, above-average income group of consumers. For example, the nation's largest newspaper and magazine research organization, Daniel Starch and Staff, reports these significant figures. More than 51% of the readers of Ebony magazine have a record player in their homes. Almost 64% own a television set. And almost 78% enjoy the convenience of an electric refrigerator. It is also a fact, and this is from the magazine The Food Field Reporter, that Negroes spend almost $3 billion a year for food alone. Per capita, they buy more cosmetics, drugs, and toiletries than anyone else in the country. And their children are better educated, too, because since 1930, enrollment in Negro colleges is up 2,500%. But really, to recognize the importance of this class Negro market, we must realize that something has been happening economically in our country. People are on the move. The population is shifting. The makeup of metropolitan populations today is different than it was just a few short years ago. To give you a better idea of what we mean, we set up several cameras, candid cameras, in a number of shopping locations. Take a look at these shoppers. notice what a large proportion of them are Negroes. What's the reason? It's simply this. Negro families are moving into the cities where there are more job opportunities. Here they find occupations with more prestige and security, jobs that pay more money. As a result, Negro families today often make up the largest part of Central City consumer prospects. A shoe store in Chicago's Loop, for example, reports that more than 50% of its customers are Negroes. In another case, a drugstore located at a transfer point in a non-Negro neighborhood finds that its Negro customers total 25%. The trend is plain. The new Negro families today are moving into more populated areas, to the cities, where there are more stores.
Hopefully this week is being somewhat educational when it comes about marketing. If you want to jump in and talk about marketing, let me know. If not, after this video, we shall end the show. Maybe about 10 minutes or so. It's quite long to be. But yeah, so we'll let it run and then we'll end the show. Unless anyone wants to chop it up and talk about marketing, Yla Eason, dolls, black, this kind of stuff, or even last week's topics, we can do that. But if not, we shall end, have a bit more, maybe 5 more minutes of this, and we'll cut that. Is it 5 more minutes? There should we have a time on this, really?
More buying opportunities. Since 1940, in San Francisco alone, the Negro market has increased by 89%. In Chicago, by 81%. Houston, Texas, 45%. Philadelphia, 50%. The impact of this new buying force is so tremendous that actually in 14 major United States markets, a product cannot be number one without Negro support. A product must have the backing of this big new buying power to be a leader in the field. What do you have to sell? Chewing gum or cars? Toothpaste or transportation? Whatever it is, here are millions of prospects. And these prospects are everywhere. Negro customers can no longer be pigeonholed. They cannot be classified as prospects who trade only in certain stores, certain neighborhoods. Today, Negroes shop downtown. They shop in supermarkets. They shop in small neighborhood stores. They'll buy from anyone who wants to sell to them. But we all know that before you can sell to customers, you've got to get to know them. You must understand something about them. What do the Negro customers buy? Why do they buy? How do you sell to them? Let's find out. Let's hear the opinion of men who have spent a lifetime studying the buying habits of customers the world over. Here is what sales psychologists have to say about selling to the Negro.
The secret of selling to the Negro.
So what you see now, it is very important. You're seeing a science, you see. People being studied for how they shop and what goes through them. And they break it down to a psychology, you see. And this is something that if we want to market stuff to black people, we have to understand ourselves, because this is something that white people have been doing for generations towards black people.
Was expressed in one word. That word is recognition. Now, there's nothing unusual about that. People want to be recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even...
Very true there. They highlight that many black people are not recognized, for their works, hard efforts, because of years and years of discrimination. There's a heightened need to be seen as normal or just proper or presentable, this kind of stuff.
Even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. This need is a very real and important one. It shows up even in many of the Negro's shopping habits. Anyone who sells or wants to sell to the Negro customer should know about some of these habits. 3 habits in particular play a big part in every sales transaction. To begin with, most Negroes buy by brand. They ask for products by name. They're quick to turn down off-brands. Do you wonder why? Well, listen to what this customer is thinking.
That last hat I bought, it just didn't hold up at all.
You see, for a long time, the Negro has been sold a lot of shoddy, second-class merchandise. So now he...
So there's a history of recognition that most people have been sold things that hasn't been up to par or quality wise, and this is what they're acknowledging.
He asks for name brands in order to make sure he gets his money's worth. Buying by brand, that's the first important Negro buying habit. Now for the second. The Negro buys good quality merchandise. Symbols of quality and prestige are very important to the Negro customer. This woman, for example, is buying fine crystalware, but she is also buying the admiration and approval of her friends and relatives. Listen to her thoughts.
My, isn't it beautiful? I can hardly wait to show it to Sally and Joan.
It's a well-known fact that many Negro customers are influenced by the opinions of others. What their friends may think of a certain item often decides whether or not the sale is made. So remember, the Negro buys quality merchandise. That's the second important point. And here's the third thing to remember when selling to a Negro customer. When he specifically asks for one thing, don't try to sell him something else. Don't try to switch him at the point of sale. If you do, he'll probably react something like this.
Doesn't he think I've got the money to pay for it?
There's a reason for this reaction. Again, because he's had experience with cheap merchandise, the Negro resents being offered a substitute. He wants to be sold on quality, not price. The Negro buys by brand, he buys quality, and he doesn't like to be switched at point of sale. These are the keys to selling the Negro customer. Another point. The Negro family does things together, as a group. The family works as a unit. It lives as a unit.
Something that unfortunately has changed in some environments. Something we need to get back to, definitely, in certain environments, of course.
And it buys as a unit. When you sell to one member, you many times sell to all. It's also true that many places of entertainment are still closed to the Negro. So he spends more of his money.
So they're showing you in that time there was segregation and black people were still banned. But yet black people still shop their money in these communities. Interesting.
For the things that are available to him. Often for items that are considered luxuries. Another trait of the Negro market is the fact that it is a pre-sold market. We know that the Negro buys by brand. And he buys the brands that he knows something about. Where does the Negro buyer get this information? We know that Negro customers are turning more and more to the publications that are tailored specifically to their needs, that give them the...
Interesting point there. So they understand that there are books and magazines at that point that, you know, is the trendsetters and tailored to what black people need. And this is obviously the kind of stuff we need to do, but definitely within there, we would point in black people to things that's of a better black-orientated, circling the pound concepts and
news and the information that they want to read about. Many leading businessmen and companies already know this. That's why so many of them are taking this direct, sure route of reaching the Negro customer. The vice president of advertising of the Drew & Watch Company, for example, says this.
In many important cities throughout the United States, Negroes are important customers of the credit jeweler. Therefore, it seemed that Ebony magazine would be a very important advertising medium for us. We would say it was very well received, and from our viewpoint, a very successful campaign.
From the Remington Rand Company comes this statement.
So what we're doing, guys, is we're just looking at how to sell to the Negro, a 1950s video circulating through businesses of how best to sell to black people. I've sent the link in the forum. This will be our last video, then we're going off air. If anyone wants to talk about anything to do with marketing or even the past shows, dolls and toys, products or businesses or philosophies, whatever, in how to best sell to black people or what's been learned or any questions, jump in now. But if not, this will be the last video. We've got maybe 4 minutes left of it. I think I can't really tell. It's a blue line. So if I have to work out, I'll say about 3 minutes.
Our records show that advertising in Ebony has been effective in many ways.
So another thing they're showing is there's a magazine that was owned by black people, and they would advertise their products in there, and it's very effective. Interesting.
As all good advertising should, it has built a terrific amount of goodwill and has brought a volume of sales and sales inquiries.
A representative of the Alaga Syrup Company makes this statement.
Because of Alaga's regard for the influence of ebony in the Negro market, advertising space was doubled. Alaga's long experience in selling to Negroes now takes the most direct route to its best customers, reaching ebony's 2.5 million audience in every issue.
And here are the statements of still other business leaders.
Yes, many business leaders are discovering the most direct and most efficient way of reaching the new Negro market. Look here at the results of the same advertisement in two different publications, Ebony and another general magazine. You can see that proportionately, more men and women read the ad in Ebony than the one in the other magazine. And they did a better job of remembering it, too. A greater percentage of readers noted, associated, and remembered the ad in Ebony. But now, wait a minute. If the Negro market is so big and easy to reach, why aren't more companies going out after it? Well, often because of the feeling that there's something entirely different, unusual about selling to the Negro. But is it really so different? What do salesmen say? The successful salesmen who do a good job of selling in Negro communities. How do you go about getting the order?
How do I get the order? Well, to tell you the truth, I don't do anything. Anything different, that is. I've been calling on these accounts long enough to know that the Negro just wants to be treated like everybody else.
Yes, there is this long need for black people to fit in, and black people want to be treated like everyone else. And this does govern most decisions made by black people, and unfortunately, at some point, many black people might want to be integrated in white ideals and white societies and this kind of stuff. We definitely want to break that dependency and get black people to focus more on fixing black issues and having black economic circles, this kind of stuff.
No matter who you're calling on, a little friendliness and courtesy help a lot. But naturally, anybody resents being patronized or talked down to. So I usually call a man Mr. Brown, Mr. Smith, or Mr. whatever his name is, until he tells me to call him by his first name. And of course, I always stick to business. I stay away from talk about race.
So you notice that normally in that time, European black people would call people by their name or boy and this kind of stuff. And I think we're saying if you actually treat black people with respect, it makes the sell easier. This is stuff that obviously white people wouldn't know because they would have been too used to belittling black people.
Religion or politics. That goes for talk about Negro celebrities, too. You know, this business about what good prize fighters and singers the Negroes are. Who cares? When a guy's in business, no matter what color his skin is, he's interested in making a living, in making money. That's uppermost in his mind. I guess maybe what I'm saying is that I try to help any way I can, sometimes with displays or ad materials, or an idea once in a while. The important thing is that if it helps push sales for the dealer, it helps push them for me, too.
Handle the Negro account just like any of your others. Don't patronize. Stick to business. Get interested in the account. Pitch in and help any way you can. Sounds like pretty good sales advice. That's the secret of selling the Negro. Well, how about it? What do you think of this new market? It can open new outlets for you and for everybody who sells goods or services. It's still possible to get in on the ground floor when this market is just beginning to grow and to expand. The facts and the figures that we see here are just a small sample of what they promise to be next year and the years after that. Yes, here are men and women with money to spend, and they spend it for exactly the same things as you and I and everyone else. They buy almost every type of product and service that you have to offer, and they can be reached like everyone else through publications that appeal to their interests and desires, that deliver the kind of loyal readership that can be proved both in surveys and in down-to-earth sales. Here is a ready-made market waiting to be asked to buy. Here are millions of customers for what you have to sell. Customers with $15 billion to spend.
All right, go ahead, these are true. Forgive me. Yeah. So what you saw there. Obviously, it's grown since 15 billion since the 50s, and obviously in the UK, it's allegedly 300 billion a year, black spending powers. So the idea is to try to find products and that we can sell, ideas we can sell, and and all that good stuff. So this is quick back to the thing. So there's a quick recap before we end the stream. I've sent out a link if anyone wants to join to ask questions. By all means, you can. The link's there. But if not, I'll just recap. So basically, we recap saying how can marketing strategies help the Black Betterment? A review case studies of Yla Eason and her creation Sunman. For those who don't know, Sunman, if he's joining late, Sunman was a black superhero created by Yla because her son didn't believe he could be a superhero because he never saw any in the current 80s superhero line Masters of the Universe. At that time didn't make black people. They only made white people and blue people. And yeah, so the sister decided to make a product that best represented black people and herself. And then she moved on to make dolls and action figures of this kind of stuff, all centered around black-centered, black-centric, and this kind of stuff. A note, there's a sister, she made a Malcolm X toy. She called her company Olmec. The hero, his name was Sunman. When you have a black person talking about the sun, Olmec, Malcolm X, you understand there's a certain mindset. That's why education is important. Getting people synchronized is important because when people get in a position of power, they can actually do stuff that is centered in the best interest of black people. If not, you'll have non-black people marketing to black people. You see that within the Asians, within the hair stores, whether it's the Asians in Europe, as in the Indian Asians, or the Southeast and South Asians in the Americas. Because once again, most black people don't own that industry. There's many things black people do, from sports to hair to music, but black people don't tend to own those industries. So ownership is important, but that's a story for another day. We've gone past the hour, so I will be ending the show now. I hope you guys had a good time, and I'll be checking you guys next week. Share the video, tell a friend to be a friend, all that good stuff. Thanks to the admin for letting me know I was not speaking in a microphone for a good minute. 10 points for that. And we'll catch you guys next week. So have a good one. Let me end the show.